Om Chimarandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshur Militang Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Tinamani Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pacharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschata Deshatarine. I'd like to begin by first reading my offering and then elaborating on the glories of Srila Prabhupada. Dear Srila Prabhupada, please accept my deeply considered and most respectful obeisances at your lotus feet. We glorify you for delivering the Western world from impersonalism and voidism. Yet, you set in motion another extraordinary mission impossible. That is, you dared present to the ignoble West what is real civilization. Exposing the primitiveness, you boldly instructed the essential precepts and norms of real human life. Otherwise, how would the so-called developed world ever know the actual human standard? This inheritance you passed on to us still remains intact, despite the usual erosive effect of time. Constantly, we ponder and deliberate the underlying themes you propounded. How to execute your desires is our life and soul. You sought to redefine what is genuine social progress and advancement. This is an extract from a morning walk. Srila Prabhupada. So they have mentioned American Hindus. He's speaking in India on a morning walk about the India media. So they have mentioned American Hindus. It is a dead blow to the material civilization. In other words, what we are doing, what his society, his Krishna conscious society is doing, is a death blow to the material civilization. No drinking, no intoxication, no meat eating, no gambling, no illicit sex. Their whole civilization is finished. Because they stand on these things, these four pillars. So a devotee says, therefore, we must present a better civilization. Prabhupada, The devotee says, we must present a better civilization. Srila Prabhupada, yes, not better or best, the civilization. 5 decades ago, in the Wild West, despite pandemic hippiness, makeshift notions of a crude moral culture and social cohesion prevailed. But today's version of a society posing as civilized is, on a mass scale, in many ways more barbarous and dangerous. than the 5 decades ago when so many of Prabhupada's disciples took up bhakti. Your aging disciples can observe that even the primitive social mores and quasi-cultural attributes during our youth are now in shreds. To the extent that comparatively, compared to now, 2021, the 60s and 70s can seem like Dwarpa Yuga. During your days with us, thousands of refugees from the Neanderthal West flocked to your mission. But in India, the land of Dharma and Krishna, very few jivas back then took shelter of your mission. Today, the situation has dramatically reversed. We can observe that aspects of the social terrain, the context, the milieu, do change over time. But the quintessential process you gave us for watering the bhakti sprouts, creepers, and trees remains inconceivably effective as ever. Early in 1977, you stated that the time would come when people would applaud your mission for having saved humanity in its most dire hour. Darkening the sky, the dreadful storm clouds of new viruses, environmental havoc, and nuclear warfare threaten the entire planet. Nevertheless, the life-sustaining bhakti seeds you planted and nurtured continue to grow, fulfilling the desire of Mahaprabhu. What you granted the critically tormented world successfully persists as humanity's genuine hope and rescue. Your lowly servant, Devamrita Swami. Speaking more about what I tried to express, is the wonder, the astonishment, and the gratitude impelling us when we consider, what if Srila Prabhupada had never come across the ocean and spread Krishna Bhakti throughout all the world and even revived it in India? What if that had never happened? Just think what your life would be like without Krishna Bhakti, due to the mercy of Srila Prabhupada. We're all indebted to Srila Prabhupada, whether disciple, grand disciple, grand disciple, as time marches on. We're all incalculably indebted. When I think of what I would have been doing without having taken shelter of Srila Prabhupada's lotus feet, I just can see the rest of my life would have been so bleak, so stale, full of futile attempts for happiness. And then, dare we think about what our future destination would have been upon giving up the present body? You see, when whether east or west, north or south, no matter what continent we're from or live on, we are addicted to hoping for a nice time in this world. We want the world to be nice. We want our situation to be nice. But then you have Srila Prabhupada upsetting that false security, those false hopes. He presented to us a completely different vision of what actually is a human society, beyond economics, beyond politics, as we know it. There is the understanding of the unique value of the human form of life. It's a vehicle, a special vehicle to take you to an abnormal destination. The human body is meant to take us out of material existence. Who would have ever thought that? We just think, oh, I've got my body. I want nice times, nice experiences. I want nice things to happen to those who are nice to me and bad things to happen to those who are mean to me. That's human civilization. But Srila Prabhupada, please understand, he so radically transformed the whole reason for our existence. It's not to have a good time. It's not to make everything nice. It's to transit this material world so that we get out. And in the process of transiting, help others to get out. In other words, Srila Prabhupada introduced to us destination consciousness, not just very black and white in terms of you're either going to heaven or you're going to hell. But he presented the whole material world as full of various possibilities, various niches, various locales, various destinations. And your present consciousness would take you there to a specific situation. So you had to think, how can I best live now? And how can I best live for the future? This is radical. Mhm. I'm thinking of Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, where in Madhya Lila, you have Sanatan Siksha, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu instructing Sanatan Goswami. Sanatan Goswami has just escaped from prison and has joined Mahaprabhu. And Mahaprabhu tells him directly, Maharorav hoite toma karila uddha, kripa samudra Krishna gambhir apar. My dear Sanatan, Krishna has saved you from Maharorava, life's deepest hell. He is an ocean of mercy, and his activities are very grave. Just like you offer Ganga Jal, the water of the Ganges, to the Ganga, similarly, I like to offer this purport of Srila Prabhupada to Srila Prabhupada because it's very helpful for devotees to start thinking about their situation, how grateful they should be, how never ending should their appreciation be for what Srila Prabhupada has done. They should constantly meditate on this point in gratitude that propels us forward in service. So the purport. And as I said, it's very instructive for all levels of devotees. As stated in the Bhagavad Gita, Ishvara Sarva Bhutanam Hrideshe Arjuna Tishtati. Staying within everyone's heart, Lord Krishna works very gravely. No one can understand how he is working. But as soon as the Lord understands the sincere activity of a person in devotional service, he helps him in such a way that the devotee cannot understand how things are happening. If the devotee is determined to serve the Lord is always prepared to help him. Dadhami buddhi yogam tam yenamam upayanti te. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is telling Sanatana Goswami how merciful the Lord is. Sanatana Goswami was a minister in the service of Nawab Hussain Shah. He was always mixing with materially inclined people, particularly with Muslim meat eaters. Although he was in intimate touch with them, by Krishna's mercy, he came to find such association distasteful. Therefore, he left them. As stated by Srinivas Acharya, Takta Tonam Ashesha Mandalapati Shrenim Sada Tucha Vat. Krishna enlightened Sanatana Goswami in such a way that he was able to give up his exalted post as minister. Thinking his material position insignificant, Sanatan was prepared to become a mendicant. Appreciating the activities of Sanatana Goswami, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu praised his action and thanked Krishna for his mercy upon him. Very beautiful for our hearts. What was Sanatana Goswami's reply to Mahaprabhu saying, Krishna saved you from life's deepest hell. He's in your heart. His actions are very grave. Sanatan replies, Krishna ami nahi jani, ama uddha hetu toma kripa mani. I don't know who Krishna is. As far as I'm concerned, I have been released from prison only by your mercy. So this is the attitude of a genuine disciple. Krishna is the property of his devotee. And I'm running after the devotee, shouting, Krishna, Krishna. Our sought after position is Das Das Anudas, servant of the servant. That's the attitude of the spiritual world. Whereas the attitude of the material world is, I want to be the one, the controller, the enjoyer. I think about how Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur describes the difference between the liberated soul, Nitya Siddha, and the conditioned soul, Nitya Baddha. He says that the eternally liberated soul, pure, is always searching for Krishna's happiness. And the eternally conditioned soul is always searching for its own happiness. I meditate on this constantly. What is my daily life all about? Am I just longing for my own satisfaction and fulfillment? Everything nice to suit my gratification? Or am I searching for what will give Krishna the most pleasure? The spiritual master demonstrates how to give everything to Krishna. And Srila Prabhupada displays the foremost example of how to use life for giving everything to Krishna. He would say that he started late in life, and he would tell his young disciples, you start now. But actually, never was there a time when Srila Prabhupada forgot Krishna. He went through his household life, but he was always engaged in service. He was well known amongst the Gaudiya Math for always being ready to assist the missionary activities. He once explained in Vrindavan at the Krishna Balaram Mandir that I was a householder, but I was never detached from the mission. I was always attending programs, always financially supportive. It's just that none of Srila Prabhupada's godbrothers ever expected that he would be the one to do what he did. Some of them could never get over their astonishment. They couldn't believe it. They couldn't accept it. Our Abhay, Vyasa, is spreading Krishna Bhakti all over the world. Can't be due to his own bhakti. It must be just some strange situation that we can't explain. Out of humility, Srila Prabhupada would say that he waited, although he was always thinking how to satisfy his spiritual master. Advising us, he said, don't wait. We can look at the world situation and see how disruptions are simply multiplying. Just 2 nights ago right near, adjacent to our temple, New Varshana, in Auckland, outside of Auckland, in the town of Kumu. Historic rainfall, never seen before. In our nice, peaceful, ideal place. Just 5 minutes away, the main street was flooded. Something like 200 millimeters of rain fell. And also in the surrounding West Auckland, there was historic flooding. Several times during that night, some of us woke up because the wind was raging, the water was pouring. Made you think, what was it like when Indra attacked Vrindavan with the Samvartika clouds? So we want everything to be nice and peaceful so we can be satisfied. But we have much more important work to do. So let us remember to always be thinking our gratitude, meditating on our gratitude to Srila Prabhupada. What if I never encountered Krishna's mercy because Srila Prabhupada never came? Oh, I think of what my life would have been like. Krishna is in our heart. He's in the heart of all of us. Ishvar Sarva Bhutanam Hridaya Arjuna Tishtati. And in my heart, in your heart, Krishna is working very gravely in such a way that no one can understand how he's working. If we're sincere, Krishna is helping us. But he's helping us in a way that often we can't understand. How is this happening? How will this happen? What will become of me? So remember what the purport says. If the devotee is determined to serve the Lord is always prepared to help. Dadami buddhi yogam tam yena mam upayanti te. By the action of the Lord in the heart, Sanatana Goswami was able to leave his exalted post. So many of us have changed our life because of the action of the Lord in the heart. There's Chaitya Guru, the Lord in the heart, and then there's a spiritual master outside the heart. The two work as a team. Gradually, as we progress in bhakti, we'll be able to see that teamwork. It's miraculous how we've exited material life and put Krishna in the center. This is what Mahaprabhu and Srila Prabhupada mean when they say Krishna's activities are very grave. 1 minute you're absorbed in material life, the next minute you're forgetting your material ambitions, strivings, greeds, lusts. So again, and in conclusion, think so that our bhakti will have its proper foundation. Think, where would I be without Srila Prabhupada's mercy? If he hadn't done what he did, where would I be? No deities, no temples, no outreach, no book distribution, no sanity. We would, whether from Bharat or New Zealand or Australia or wherever, what would we have been doing? I have so many disciples from Bharat who say that when they were living in India, they would never think of becoming a Krishna Bhakta. But by coming to the West, they contacted Prabhupada's mission and transformed in a way that they thought was impossible. They say, if we were living in India, no way. We never thought about going to a temple, chanting Hare Krishna. And of course, those born outside of India, we know what our steady diet would have been. So let us always meditate on our debt to Srila Prabhupada that is impossible to fully repay. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.